Hello, welcome to Mystartup TV. I'm Major Sunil Shetty. We are signing off this week with an interesting conversation with a naval officer, Commander Kuldeepak Mittal, who has commanded, who has held various command positions while during his 21 years of service. He also received Youth Seva Medal and now Sena Medal. He is also an author who has written 3 books around defense and navy. Currently, he is the founder of a defense startup which is called Neuron TOT Private Limited. They have come up with 4 products that are ready for industrial production, and they hold a patent on it. Let's dive into it and understand what the startup is all about. Get an insight into Commander Mittal's naval career. Also, very interesting take that I want to bring on this is his expertise in drone warfare and drone technology. So we'll also understand where we are going with drone, what's the capacity or capability today we have, and what is future looking like when it comes to drone technology or drone warfare. Sir, good evening and welcome to the show. Sir, Operation Sindoor is very fresh in everybody's mind, and drone kind of just bursted on the scene with the 3-day war, and everybody is like now drone is everywhere, right? You and me are part of that group where the drone group, and now you see every day something new coming up. So I want, given your expertise in drone warfare and drone technology, I will come to it. But then before I start into that, for the benefit of our viewers out there, I would like you to start with, sharing your naval experience, the 21-year experience, how it has been, and what has been achievement there, and how you transited from being a soldier to a soldierpreneur.
So actually, my journey started when I was 13 years old. I joined the Rashtriya Military College (RIMC) in Dehradun in class 7. 5 years in RIMC, 3 years in NDA, and then I joined the Navy. At the age of 22, I got commissioned, and then I spent about 21 years in the Navy. It was a great career, great, lovely life. And in the Navy, I'm from the communication branch, so I had designed a satellite, a geostationary satellite, in 2003, and conceptualized it. Finally, it got the cabinet committee approval in 2006, and it was manufactured and launched by ISRO in 2013. So, but I took premature retirement 17 years ago after doing my 21 years, and my first trust with the business was real estate. So I started off in real estate and did reasonably well. But then real estate is a little slow moving. It's a very high ticket size, but it's a little slow moving, I found, and then I got a little bored of it. So that continues, but I wanted to diversify. And then I got back to the satellite business and tried to contact some, credible technical team. So I'm not a technical person, so I always wanted to build up a very credible team. Otherwise, unless you have, in fact, that is my first takeaway, that for a startup, it is not just the founder or the idea, but it's a team that manages. You have to have a great team. The greater the team, the greater is the idea, and the better is the startup. So I started off from a team this time, and finally, around 5.5 years ago, I was able to get a credible team from Israel. So my main partner, collaborator, is from Israel. He's 70 years old, and he's also ex-Israeli Navy. And then there, of course, it's a global team. So they have a minority share in my company, and it's basically an R&D solution providing team. Having said that, today we have about 4 lines of business. One is the UAVs, then is artificial intelligence, and then the ground segment, the UGVs, unmanned ground vehicles, and unmanned boats. So with this, we intend to complete the complete triad of the Army, Navy, and Air Force, and allied services.
Interesting. So, sir, you also have authored 3 books. If you could briefly touch upon, what the books, what was the theme around? I know a part of it was defense and navy, and in today's context, where does it fit in? Benefit for the, for the viewers, and I want you to go ahead and promote your book.
Okay. So these were 22 years ago. private commercial consumption, but they were written for the Navy. So the first was New Naval Communication Philosophy, which I wrote in 2003. So it started as penning my own thoughts and how we could go about it in an organized manner, because I had just come back from Parakram. So my ship was opposite Pakistan for about a year, which is very long for a small ship like that, Mittal boat, and we were operating off the coast of Gujarat. So that is the time I started penning down my thoughts about how to upgrade the naval communication systems. And then when I started designing the satellite, so I realized that there was a lot of learning that I had to do, and a lot of learning that the naval headquarters and the Navy and eventually everybody would need. So as I kept on designing, I kept on writing, and as I kept on writing, I kept on designing, and that's how it became a book. That was the first book, and then we were told to make a naval space vision. So that was the second book, which was written after the first project of the satellite was approved by the Cabinet Committee of Security. So I wrote the naval space vision. That again had a few more facets to it than just communication. And then we were told to write the defense space vision. So the defense space vision was easy for us to write because we had to incorporate the naval side, and then the army side at that time wrote the army space vision, and that's how, and the Air Force wrote this Air Force space vision. That's how the defense space vision, I think it was written in 2005, 20 years ago. That's how it took shape, and under which the first satellite was launched in 13 for the Navy. The second satellite was launched by ISRO in 2017 for the Air Force, and Army satellite is still yet to go up in the air.
We are in conversation with Commander Kuldeepak Mittal, who served 21 years in the Indian Navy. He commanded. He had multiple tenures of command over a ship, and he's been an author. Though these books are confidential, not for public consumption, but for within the naval services. He's a soldierpreneur who left once he came out of the Indian Navy. He started his own venture, which is Neuron TOT Private Limited. He also had a short stint as a real estate developer, but then a soldier's heart is where it is, and he had to move. He decided to move from the real estate, as he called it, slow-moving, business, to something where his heart was building for Bharat. So, sir, coming back to the books, I know it is confidential, but in today's scenario, in today's context, where we saw Indian Navy, correct me if I'm wrong, after a long time, was actually deployed, facing our enemies. And in today's context, whatever you had, you had found, researched, and written or planned for, 20 years ago, how relevant is it?
No, it is absolutely relevant because, like I said, that the army is always the first dimension of military warfare. Right? Army started around organized armies. They were earlier called raiders. Started around 4,000-5,000 years ago in Greece or in Italy or in China, everywhere, Europe. So that is the first dimension of any military warfare. The second was the navy that came in almost immediately after the army, and you have references of almost 3,000-4,000 years ago in the Greek mythology and Greek history, and then of course Chinese. And then this happened 3,500 years ago or 4. The third dimension of military warfare was the Air Force, which came in only in the last century, after the First World War. And the fourth dimension was the space segment, which was the satellites, communication satellites and ISR satellites, that came in last century. So the 4 dimensions cleared. Now we're talking about unmanned autonomous drones, which is in the air, on the ground, at sea, without any human interference. So along with this comes the 6th dimension, which is artificial intelligence. Now, unless your drones have got very high level of artificial intelligence and machine learning, they will not be able to perform. So when you see swarm of drones, you will never find a single aircraft being sent out for a mission by Air Force. It doesn't happen. You don't find a single tank being sent out on a mission. Similarly, you don't find a single ship being sent out on a mission. So we will always send the entire armada, or depending on the mission, you will send a fleet or a swarm or a group